Talk to me about what fatherhood means to you.
Well, fatherhood means really being sort of like an oak tree, providing shade for your family, emotionally, um, spiritually, and hopefully financially as well too. But more importantly, just being sort of the source of strength for the family.
For me, likely a great opportunity or a blessing. Everybody isn't gifted with that opportunity in this world. And then secondarily, it comes with a sense of selflessness and responsibility. So just the ultimate commitment to sacrifice and doing for others in a very intimate relationship.
To me, fatherhood is the backbone, the one that the family can lean on for strength, for a ear, for someone, like I said, for an ear to get guidance, someone you can confide in. That's what fatherhood means to me.
Invisible Man reclaiming the image of the black father.
He told me I had to write a bio. A little about the author, but I never write those, but I guess they write though. I should tell them about Sacramento and dreaming for better days. For everything else, just check out my resume. See, I just want to talk about the mission, cause don't nobody talk about the children. I just think I'm trying to make a difference. I remember feeling like I wasn't healing, so I went and made my own penicillin weight. Came up with the method, the antidepressant, a novel, a comic, an album, a lesson, and gave it to adolescents.
Part of the genesis of the project was seeing pictures of my nephews on Facebook with their kids, and then realizing that most of the people in my circle that have kids are good fathers. And then the video portion of it came about specifically from the conversation that me and you had about being raised by a single father, and me not having a stable father.
Right. As far as growing up, for me, it was always opposite. Everybody the stereotypes that you thought about as being black, living in poverty, ghetto. Well, we lived in the projects for a certain amount of time, but I was raised up like that. So everything that people said to me was the opposite. So it wasn't like, I never had those experiences. Like, what was it like without living with your dad? Like, he's at home right now, or he's at work. So I never had the experience of having that stereotype of not having a father. And also, what you and I talk about too, when it comes to fatherhood, all my friends are fathers. So the stereotype of black fathers not being around is just, a lot of it is bullshit. Because most of the brothers I know, the majority of brothers I know who are fathers are good fathers, or try to be good fathers, whatever that means. So I hang out and know a lot more brothers who are actually actively being great dads than not. I know a lot of people. So that myth, hopefully we can debunk that. Yeah.
It's a stereotype and we got to change it, that all black men are sorry fathers. That is a stereotype, and we got to nip that in the bud, because there are a whole lot of good black men that are good fathers, turned into great fathers. But it takes a village to raise a child. And once you get that village, everything else falls in place.
Mainstream media would have you believe that there's, an absentee list of fathers, or, fatherhood is just a word in the dictionary. It doesn't truly exist. It's like a Yeti.
At one point in time, I wasn't ready. But once you get that news, it's time to get ready. And being that I had an absent father, I wanted to be different. So I wanted to be in my kids' life.
It's not just a simple thing of having children. To say that you are a father, you have to show that. You have to give them that fatherly love and time and concern and understanding. You have to give them an ear.
Being a father, you don't know what it's going to take some days. You just have to be prepared. And I think that is really the job of a father, to be prepared to do whatever it's going to take to accomplish the goal for your children, for your family, for your home, for your wife.
Part of my purpose is just being able to set her up. I want to shorten the gap between when she's born and when she learns why.
Fatherhood means to me, it means being responsible, taking care of your responsibilities. As soon as my daughter was born, it was like, I am responsible. I mean, and it was love at first sight.
I remember before he was born, I couldn't imagine having a child. And then after he was born, now I can't imagine not having one. So, like I said, it's been a fun adventure. Something I wouldn't trade for the world. I couldn't think of anything else better to do. Talk to me about fatherhood.
Yeah, man. Definitely, it's one of those things that, for me, it's I don't know where to start. So, I guess like to engage with being a father, it has to start with like my own engagement with the father. And so, and my dad wasn't really a parent for most of my life. So he's in Miami. Don't really have nothing bad to say about the man. You know, I think as an adult, I try to see things through his eyes, and you know, I used to be frustrated. But hey, I know you can't pet the doggy. Used to be frustrated, but I think trying to see what was his mind at, you know, when I was around. But so anyway, it was never a thing that I jumped at to try to be a dad, you know. And for my circumstance, being a dad with my daughter, it wasn't planned per se. So maturing from those instances of quickly getting the concept of, okay, now you're a dad, so what's next? And for me personally, like, I originally ran away from the situation, you know, and in a weird circumstance, I went to my friend's house, and I'm surrounded by really good people, and he kind of just pushed me back into the situation, you know, let me vent it out, but definitely understanding and pushed me back into that element. And it's the most rewarding thing, you know. It's something that is the most challenging but the most rewarding, and so much life that brings into myself, and just to love with someone and just to have the responsibility of creating a decent human being, you know. It's scary, but it's a feeling that you don't want to leave, you know what I mean? So, you know.
So talk to me. How did becoming a father affect your opinion of your father?
Oh yeah. So, so there was, before I had a kid, before Amelia came, there was no animosity. There was no animosity to my dad. There wasn't anything that I felt towards him, like anger, hate. I've had a lot of father figures kind of fill that role. And I never went out looking for it either. But I think having a kid, the one thing that has changed with that mindset is, you know, with my daughter, we went through the whole legal battle, and, you know, that was a roller coaster thing, but I never gave up, you know, and there was nothing that was keeping me from being a father, you know, and so I definitely fought, like, I just risked it all and fought until I got what I felt should have been. So anyway, I think through that and getting what should be, I started feeling kind of weird with my dad on connecting to the part of the question. I don't think my mom did everything correctly, but at the same time, I feel like with my dad, like, was I not enough for you to fight for? And I think that is a question I may never get an answer to, but it is kind of, it's kind of like your worth, you know, without getting, like, understanding your own personal worth and you see yourself, but to when there's no one else to see that, you think a parent's supposed to give that to you and they give that affirmation. But to think of my dad, I'm 30 and you never tried to pursue, you never tried to chase. And, from where I'm from, like, I grew up in South Sac, troubled life, and, we did a lot of fighting. And so one thing that when we felt like we needed to gain respect or to gain a step or to gain something, we'll fight, And I think I'm a natural fighter in the sense of, like, metaphorically. And I don't know why the most important thing to you is our children. We want to give them a future and to better their lives, like our maximum life is like their first stepping stone, And I think like, how can my dad, why wasn't I not worth fighting for? Even though the circumstances with my mom or whatever she put you in, why wasn't I worth it to chase? So I don't know. I think I did see him as a man, but now I struggle with even seeing him as that now. So.
Okay. So how did that experience make you want to be different or be a father?
Yeah.
Being a father.
Yeah, for sure. I think that bottom line right there is to say I would never stop fighting. So whatever that looks like, I think as parents, first and foremost, we should give our time to our kids. That's the bare minimum we have to do, is to give them time. And I feel like with that, understanding my dad and him not giving that to me, that's my mindset, is to give her the bare minimum of time. To understand that she may hurt me in the future, she may make choices that I may not want her to do, and I don't think is best for her. But I still have to bear witness to it. And I think that's something like I look at my dad as I will witness it all, So it's a promise I kind of made to myself and to Amelia. So
one of the things I try to do is to be very mindful to give my kids my best. I get frustrated with myself if I give my job my best, or I give lots of different outlets my best. But then I get to my kids, I'm tired, exhausted, frustrated, not creative anymore, not energized anymore. So I try to make sure I give my kids at least equal to what I would give any other thing, if not more, and not use it all up during the day. And just bring them the low battery version of myself.
So it's important that a father be a good role model for his children and others.
And I guess my dad has always been a larger than life person, literally and figuratively as well. And just in that moment, just to be calm and do what needs to be done. And he's always done what needed to be done for the family in whatever capacity. Whatever gets brought up, my dad's able to handle it. And that's been a good example for me as a man, just to be that person who, whatever life throws at you, you're able to handle it calmly and do what you need to do. And so that's one of the many things that I love about my father.
He was the good cop. He was going to talking to the school, He knew all the teachers in the high school. They would go to see him and Mr. Alcabalon, Mr. Alcabalon. And so I think that that's an example for boys to see their father engage there with them. And they'll call from out of state or out of the country. Dad's not picking up his phone, so they call mom's phone, my phone, to get to him, because sometimes they just need dad. They call me for the money. They call dad for the advice. So
when I had to move out of my place in San Luis Obispo, there was no like, hey, at first I was thinking like to myself, like, oh, I gotta get a U-Haul, I gotta get some movers, I gotta do this. And my dad just got a ticket, and he came down, and he got the U-Haul. And I don't remember asking. Like, it just happened. So I'd say the lesson I've learned is just do things. You don't need to declare them to anyone. Just do them, and not because someone asked, not because you feel you're supposed to. Just just act.
Man, fatherhood. There's so much. It's just a broad thing, right? So fatherhood, it starts off for a lot of people biologically, but it's not just that.
Like, even though sometimes you have a father figure, you have someone in your life that's like biological father, it's just that somebody else can have an impact on you down the line to help you change certain things, your mindset, show you how to dress, show you how to carry yourself.
I decided that I was going to do a few things that would show them and not just tell them, because I really believe that children are going to do what you show and not what you say. And so I decided to show them all the things that I had learned, hopefully to give them a head start or to redirect them on the right path to getting where they needed to be, so they wouldn't need to feel that they had to be validated from someone else or something else to be considered a man.
So what are the main lessons you're trying to impart to these two?
As much as anything, it's to realize that, anything that they're going to get in life comes from hard work. We're kind of privileged, and so that's far from what I grew up with. It's the opposite of what I grew up with. And so them understanding that just because they go to certain schools or live around certain people, or because mom or dad, whoever, can just buy stuff for them easily, that means nothing if you're not putting the effort in and work in to actually accomplish things for yourselves. And so I want them to have that work ethic, to know that being successful really comes down to, in many cases, how hard are you willing to work, what effort are you willing to put in. And so they come out here and help me with projects. Like there's over there in the dark, there's the deck we're building and digging up dirt and pounding rocks and all of that. And then we got this piece here on redoing the roof here. Or even if it's just schoolwork or whatever the case may be, they just need to know that they have to put that work in and have that. That's just and being young black boys, realizing that regardless of how hard you work, sometimes things aren't going to happen the way that you want to, and sometimes things just aren't going to be fair, and that doesn't change your approach to it. Still, you have to put in the effort and making sure that you give it your best and learn from that experience and make paths for others to actually be able to cross those. So, I'm actually impressed with how well they're doing this right now.
We seem to be working together as a team.
Yeah.
So you said, talked the other day, so you said you have 2 older sons, or 3 older sons.
Yes, yes, I have 3 older sons. One's adopted, it's Andrew, and so he's 36 years old. And then there's Malik and Jacob, and Malik's 23, Jacob will be 22 in March. So yeah.
So what lessons did you learn from your first set of kids that you're applying to the...
Oh my God. Yeah, so I got custody of Andrew when he was 14 years old. And I was in my 20s. And I was just figuring out life for myself. I was still a kid, if you will. I thought I was, as grown and mature as anyone. But one thing that I learned about Andrew really quickly was his set of life challenges was one of the first times that I've seen a set of life challenges that were greater than those that I grew up with and around. The level of poverty, the level of abandonment by his family, and so many other things. And when I left Louisiana, he moved with me to Colorado. And he had just failed 9th grade. We were about to repeat 9th grade. And I have no clue why he wanted to come and be with me. I was his basketball coach. That was our relationship. I was in the Air Force at the time, and I was his basketball coach. And one of the parents were like, Andrew's not going to make it without you here. And he was like, I'm going to come. And I was going to Colorado, just gotten a job, and I was going to be going to school. I didn't know what that was going to be like. But from him and from working with him, I learned so much about love. Just the basics of being there for someone, taking care of someone, and seeing how love was so devoid in his life for so many years. Not having a father figure there, not having, actually his dad was there, so that's not true. His dad was physically there. But as far as nurturing, caring, or doing anything to take care of Andrew, that really didn't happen. And it was amazing. In 1 year, Andrew went from failing 9th grade to being a B student in 9th grade in a much more challenging district, to making many progressive steps in his life. So I learned so much about that. And then I had, my own Malik and Jacob come along. And with Malik and Jacob, what I really learned most was giving kids affirmation, which is frankly what I learned from my granddad. Attention and setting expectations, high expectations. And you do that with love, they'll make it. And one of the biggest challenges, or unfortunate challenges there, was from an academic point of view and where they were, and us overcoming that, and seeing all the things that they're able to be now versus where they were is a great accomplishment. And it's a great accomplishment to them. And what I learned from that, not, if I look back now and think back to then, was how I approached it. I learned from my mom and where I grew up in terms of what love looks like.
Right.
And love oftentimes hurt physically.
Understood.
And that was just passed on generationally, essentially from slave masters on to us. And I passed it on as well. And I saw the pain that came out of that. That didn't wholly stop me. It was I came out all right. And my mom laid it to me on a consistent basis, and that kept me out of jail for the most part. That gave me some direction that, oftentimes I realized that I learned first to fear my mom, and then later on that fear transitioned to respect. And through the process with them I realized that, I don't think your kids should ever have to fear you.
Right.
But as a parent, you also have a consistent fear of you're raising black boys. And at any point in time, if they haven't had that fear and accountability, then they may very well find themselves in front of a police officer.
Right.
And that can be life or death. And so I'd much rather have them be extremely well disciplined and behaved and everything else, that they're willing to respect that authority, versus someone showing up at my door telling me my kids are dead. So that was a struggle, trying to figure out that balance as a dad with that. But Andrew paved the way for Malik and Jacob, and Malik and Jacob paved the way for these two. And so sort of the learnings that I had with Malik and Jacob, and now Alon and Jackson, they get to see a different side of me.
Yeah.
Still yet extremely accountable, very disciplined, you know what you're going to do when you're going to do it. But the associated set of consequences are rounded off to be a bit different. So learned a lot.
Just the joy that your kids bring, and the joy that unconditional joy that they have sometimes, man. Like sometimes you come home and it's like, you know, your kids or your puppy or anything like that have that unconditional love. You look forward to that. That's something like, it don't matter how you doing at work, or it don't matter if you got a blemish or whatever's happening. It don't matter if you broke or not. Like your kids have that unconditional love. So that's another thing they taught me, how good it feels to be loved unconditionally and to try to do that for other people. Because you can tell the difference from the way your kid loves you, the way your best friend loves you. It's different. Or the way your coworker or your poet homie or Kareem, the home, is different, right? So I want to end on like a positive note like that. That unconditional love, that being a father is amazing.
And so the best part of my day or the best part of my night is she sleeps in the bed with me, and right before we go to bed, say the prayers, and she says, "Daddy, hold my hand." That's everything. So all the, "Daddy, I can do it. Daddy, let me do it. Daddy, I can do it. Daddy, let me do it. Daddy, don't do that. Don't do that." At the end of the night, she's, "Daddy, hold my hand." And that'll melt, man. That'll melt the staunchest criminal. That'll melt anybody, you know. Fatherhood is awesome. Black fathers exist.
See, I just wanna talk about the mission, cause don't nobody talk about the children. I just think I'm trying to make a difference. I remember feeling like I wasn't healing, so I went and made my own penicillin weight. Came up with the method, the antidepressant, a novel, a comic, an album, a lesson, and gave it to adolescents. Cause I remember why I never said it, never told them I was feeling depression. They said I was only 11, like only adults can mope. You can't be sad till you lose your head, soul, and your hope. But here was the joke, by the time I was legal to vote, I was twice as sad as most the adults without an outlet or a method to cope. I was needing some hope. Fast forward, now I'm feeding them hope. If you was sleeping, hope you be in the woke. Hope you know that I'ma love you. Don't you ever think that you was alone, cause I'd have been there before. I think I'm a hero and I know